Okay, so this is part 2 of the video I did yesterday concerning my Z9 repairs I did on Z9 on 25 December 2022. So after I concluded the video and the repairs, and I now went to the videos and realized there were quite a number of part of the video that were meant to be captured. As in, I was doing some of those tutorials, I didn't know the video was off or was not recorded. So so those things are actually important, So because I kind of share some experiences and why I made some decisions, why I went a different direction or using certain things or stuff like that. So I decided, let me do this pictorial video where I could just explain some of the things I remember that I talked about on those ones that didn't come up on the video while I was trying to merge some of those videos I captured. So let's start. Now, I talked about on one of those ones that didn't come up. I talked about why I jack the front right side of the Z9 or any of my ES Peugeot cars right side whenever I want to change the engine oil, especially by myself or when I'm doing it at the workshop. I direct the mechanic that will do the work, direct him what to do, which side of the car to jack. Now, I prefer the right side, the front right side. I jack it up. You don't need to remove the tire. You only need to jack it up. Of course, use jack support or jack stand, so that because you're definitely going to go under the car. So use it to support it so that it will be safe enough to do whatever I want to do under the vehicle. Now, for the ES engines, I can't say for sure what the oil pan of ES9J4 looks like. I can't remember if it's exactly the same with the ES9J4S and ES9A. So let me just speak for the one I know, for experience from my own personal vehicles, since I don't have ES9J4. So the ES9J4S and ES9A, the oil pan or the oil sump, this is the what in Nigeria they call bottom plate. So the oil pan, I realized that when you jacked the right front side, the oil flows out almost completely. When you jack the right side, the left side, it doesn't. In fact, when you even leave it on the left ground or on the level ground, most oil still remain on the pan, on the oil pan. They won't come out. But when you jack the right side of the front of the vehicle, basically everything will come out. Of course, to even make it better, like I mentioned in the previous video, I usually warm. In fact, I would drive the car, even if I want to do it at home. I will drive the car, start it, sometimes drive it or let it run. I need to wait for the oil temperature to come up. First, sometimes I will let it even come up, go beyond 80 degrees Celsius. Of course, the coolant temperature will be around that 90, 100 or thereabout. I want the engine to get as hot as possible. What you now realize is, as soon as you remove the drain plug, if you follow this step, jack the right side, remove the drain plug. Of course, before you remove the drain plug, remove the cover on the cylinder head, the oil, where you pour the engine oil, remove that cover. Then, of course, you remove the oil filter first before you remove the drain plug. But what you realize, immediately you are removing the drain plug with these steps I mentioned, the oil, it will just boom, very, very quickly. It won't even waste time. Unlike the ones when engine is cold, you could wait for an hour or so for the oil to drain out. You know, just be dropping small. This one will just with force. You know how it will be like when you remove a radiator hose when the engine is very, very hot. You know, the way it will burst out. It's not going to be the same, of course, but it's that same way. So everything from the cylinder head down is going to flow like that, and it will be very, very quick. Now, some might have issue with it, that it's not good to drain everything. Well, I don't care, because I always want to get the old oil out as much as possible. I mean, there's no gain to have more of old oil mixed with the new one. So I do it that way. The only thing is you have to be prepared. Of course, as you're removing the drain plug, the oil that will touch you on your hand is going to pain you a little, you know, because the oil will be hot, you know, but I do it very quickly. Sometimes I even in fact, as it's doing that, I just let the drain plug to go with the oil, drop into the whatever I'm using to fetch out those oil. The oil is pouring into. I let it drop in there. Later I can now bring it out when I've pulled out everything and then fix. So I needed to. So if you have ES9J4S or ES9A engine, whichever Peugeot car, if you try this step I mentioned, jack the car from the right front end and do this, you will realize it will flow out much faster. And especially also if you warm it up, like I said before, you do that, you don't necessarily need to get that extremely hot, because sometimes what I realize is if you call very hot, if the engine, let's assume the temperature, you drove the car for like an hour and a hot afternoon, and you do it, and what you realize sometimes when after pouring the engine oil and start the car, it will enter limp mode. That's my observation. It will enter limp mode, so you have to clear the fog before it go. Everything comes back, you know. So, but the most important thing, warm up your oil. Don't drain oil when it's cold. Trust me, if you do that, some oil will be trapped on the cylinder, the old ones. Remember, cold oil means it makes they are thicker. They move around lazily, you know, and that's why it's not good to start pushing your RPM when the engine is cold, because at that time the oil is too lazy, it doesn't go in everywhere smoothly to lubricate, protect the metal part of the rotating part of the engine as the engine is running. So if you start pushing your RPM hard at that time, your accelerator pedal, you are wrecking your engine at that time. So it's good to get up your oil temperature, let it warm up, you know, come up, and the oil becomes what's it called? It becomes lighter as well at that time. There's something else I mentioned concerning this. Okay, no, maybe I'll talk about it later. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so now let's talk about the drain plug. It was a very important thing, in fact, because that part of the video, I thought it was actually recording. I didn't know the camera was on, but I didn't press the record button. So, when I removed the drain plug, when I wanted to drain out the old oil, in fact, it didn't even come out. It was partially stuck, even though I'm losing it. So because of course they use the normal paper to support the factory washer on the plug. When I mean drain plug, I'm referring to the special bolt that you know, covers or blocks oil from coming out, where you can remove the oil and close back. So which you are looking at on the screen. So the drain plug So I tried to remove it. It just couldn't come out easily, even when the oil had started flowing out. So what I realized was they used, because I did it the last time I did it was at Total Station. That's where the last place I changed the oil. So they used this, what's it called? This head gasket gum or glue. You know, those head gasket, this thing, it's not just the normal RTV silicone gasket maker. They use the head gasket gum, which can, any place, whether metal or this thing, can be very sticky. So when they did it, I had to even, the pepper almost got torn. Part of it stayed on the oil pan, the other now followed the drain plug. So it was a big mess, I mean. So, and I now have to find a way, because I know where I can put another, I put back the drain plug without scraping off all those, the gum, that gum there that has already made that the surface very rough. Both surfaces, both the drain plug, the part that goes to the oil pan, and then on the oil pan itself. So I had to find a way to scrape. So I used, this is what I used, because I need to be careful. So I used this. This is part of the rings. I normally have it in all my cars. So I use it for a brush, removing carbons on spark plugs and the rest. So I had to now carefully start scraping the O-ring on the metal O-ring on this thing on the drain plug, because it's still there. So I had to carefully scrape those paper and the gum that was stuck there. Then I also went back to the oil pan where some of those gums and the papers were also stuck there. So I started scraping gradually. The reason why I'm explaining all this and I had to take my time to do it is because if not, if you use anything rough, if you do it wrongly, it's going to damage the oil pan. Because once that place is no longer smooth, no matter what you do, oil will keep leaking from there. So I had to carefully keep scraping, you know, doing it gently. Don't ever attempt using sandpaper. Don't ever. If you find yourself in that kind of situation, don't use sandpaper or anything that is very rough. That's why I had to use this, because it has a smoother surface. You can be doing it gradually, do it carefully. So until eventually I was able to remove those glue, paper, stock paper on the drain plug and the oil pan. So after then, it was at that point I decided I think I'm done taking my cars to total filling stations to drain oil. I'm not saying this is standard the way they do, but the problem is whenever I take it there, they don't like, you know, they don't even want people to stay out there when they are doing those things. They always ask you to go enter the customer's this thing or waiting room, something like that. And you know, sometimes they will, even if you want to, you are telling them what you want to do, how you want it done, they will not listen. You know, start telling you they have been doing these things since your mother was conceived, before I even talk about you. So I don't like working with people that can't take my instruction from me. You know, I know my car, I know what I'm doing. So if you're not going to take that instruction, if you're not going to do it the way I want it to be done, which I do myself, that's because of time. The nature of things I do mostly on weekdays, so I hardly have the time to do it myself, especially for my own cars. These days I even spend more time fixing other people's cars than mine. So I just take it to someone else, pay the person to do it exactly the way I want. So since this particular one, they would have messed up my oil pan because of that. Why would they go and apply glue on something that didn't need to be put there? So I think I'll start doing it myself. I just hope I will have that time, or I'll take it to a mechanic workshop I have 1 or 2 people that takes instruction, and my direct is exactly what I want. You know, that's why I work. If you can't take it, that will be end between me and you. You know, so that's what I'm doing going forward now. It's possible there are some technicians at Total Station that can do it how you want it. But for now, who knows? Maybe in future I might find somebody I can be working with there. But for now, you know, I mean, I've never experienced this because in other cars, I know sometimes I do it myself, sometimes I do it there, so they don't use that gum. So I don't know why they now apply this. I almost damaged something like this. Okay, so in the other, that same yesterday when I was doing I thought I captured some of the things I said. Now some people wondering why I use this paper. Now, unfortunately, in Nigeria, at least so far, I've been checking, they don't sell the drain plug washers. Now, drain plug washers are meant to be replaced at every oil change, engine oil change. You're supposed to change that washer there. There are various types. There are some that is it brass or golden color, something like that. While some, like this one, this particular one on the ES9, it has it's just the normal silver one. However, it has this rubber seal on it, so which helps to also prevent oil from coming out. So there are various types of them. So over, I know they do it in the West or every other continent. You know, it's because it's available and very, very cheap. Here you won't find it. So what I've been doing is sometimes what I usually do is like when I get the car, I might change. Didn't put any paper, use the old one, there won't be leakage. But I realize maybe over time you start seeing oil stain or be wet around that drain plug, or even start leaking. So in that case, you know the seal is already gone, the washer is gone, even though it's there, but it's no longer doing its work. So I resorted to using this. I will just cut off the oil filter paper, cut it, form it a ring around the drain plug, and it does the work. Of course, it means next time you are removing the drain plug, you have to do another one. You can't reuse the old one there because it's paper as you are doing it to tear off and the rest. So, but it does the work for me. However, I do see all those zero ring drain plug zero ring online whenever I'm sourcing for parts or importing parts I want to sell. I do see them. So probably what I might do, which I also mentioned that in the video yesterday, will probably be to buy this guy, since the engines are basically the same, apart from the 505, which is different, the same, because that one the drain plug is 17, so it's kind of smaller, while this one is I think 19 or thereabout. So there are 2 different washers sizes. So, and the 505 own I think is the brass one. So I may have to buy as many as possible, keep for myself, because these are the things you probably, even if you want to sell, people will not even buy. That's why they are not dealers. Part sellers are not selling because there's no demand for them. Imagine when you bring it to sell and you tell the person, will be like, what's the point when I can use paper? So I'll probably just keep it for myself. Whenever as many as I can afford to buy. They are very cheap online. If you can buy them. But then by the time you chip them in, everything, the price will go up. You know. So that's one of the things I mentioned in the video. So those who might be wondering, why are you using this thing? Like the local technicians or mechanics use it. Now you understand why. You have to, once you know what is still on your drain plug is the old washer, you have to put this, otherwise you might start leaking. So you need something else to, don't remove the old washer, just to support this, put it on top. It will help to, depending where you can get a new washer. It's not all type of washer. Don't go and look for market and see anything that looks like, no, they are special. They are meant specially for this. So that's why it has to be exactly washer meant for drain plug, especially for your model. Not all. If you see another one, it might not work. So it has to be for your oil pan drain plug of the engine model. So I think that is it for this one. Okay, I've showed you this. If you can, maybe just go to mechanic workshop, look for exactly this. There are different sizes. This particular one, I always like to have it. Even started in the days of 504 when I was using GM. I always have it. So can carry, just keep it in your car. Sometimes I'll use it and forget to put it back, but I always go back whenever I think I should have it in all my cars, so but maybe one or two now is no longer there. So whenever I see one, I pick it up. It's not something you need to buy. Just go to a mechanic workshop. They always have one around. Though these days people mechanics prefer to change engine than replace rings, which I don't blame them, considering most of the rings don't work well, or sometimes lack of technical know-how, they don't know how to do it, or sometimes even me, I do recommend changing engine because changing rings alone on a dead engine may not even solve the problem. You might stop the oil leak at that time, oil burn, I mean, but it doesn't mean it's not coming back. It doesn't mean your engine power will be fully back. Okay, so now I talked about oil level. Well, that's yesterday. I don't know if it wasn't captured. If I spend more time on this one than other part of the videos I was doing. So because I did that, I warmed up the engine oil and then jacked the right side of the car. So basically almost everything came out, the old oil. So in this case, the engine now consumed almost like the 5 liters. The only thing, it was just little thing that remained. So what I would do, because I've not gauged it this morning, but I'll still do to know where it is. So because my point is, whatever that was remaining, which was very little, it's not even up to half a liter, but end up going in. So but my point of this particular picture is to show that when you do it the way I did, drain the oil the way I did, even though Peugeot says it's about 4.75 liters that you should do when you change engine oil on ES9, J4S, ES9A, I think ES9 J4 as well, I think so. So it's only, I can't remember about years. So it's only 4.75 liters. But well, actually, if the engine is empty, sometimes it can even take more than 5 liters. From what they showed in the manual, it could take up to 5.5. That's if everything completely goes off. Let's say you buy a brand new engine without oil, it's likely going to take more than 5 liters. So that's the water. But I know there's a time back then, sometime when I changed the oil, maybe I didn't jack that just side. All these things, before all these things, I started jacking that side, warming oil, before I would change. I realized that only 4 liters. Once I put up to 4 liters, it wouldn't get close to that maximum. So meaning there's still quite a number of oil, old oil left in the engine. But I started warming it up, doing all those things. So I now realized that the engine now started consuming more than 4 liters for it to come up to the normal level that I want. So where I'm pointing this screwdriver, you can see the minimum mark and the maximum mark. So like I always say in some of my posts or videos, that upper part of the mark does not mean normal. Please. Some cars, maybe that's what they are, but for Peugeot, it's maximum mark, not normal mark. It's maximum. So what that means is you don't need to get it to maximum mark. Trust me, I have personal experiences why it's safer to leave it under the maximum. I don't want this video to be as long as to stay too long. So I don't need to go into those experiences. So it's better and safer. Keep it under the maximum mark. Even Peugeot recommended exactly this. Keep it under the maximum. So where I'm pointing at least let it be around there. It could be a little bit below. It could be a little bit above where I'm pointing, but let it stay around there. Now, how do you know whether it will get there or whether you don't want to exceed it? Best way to do is, if Peugeot says it takes 5 liters, 4.7.5 to when you put the drain and put in your oil. Drain everything. First start with 4 liters. Put 4 liters first, then pull out the dipstick. But most people, they just empty everything and now start checking. No, don't make that mistake. If Peugeot say for 5 liters, first put 4 when you drain the old one. You'll be surprised that it could be that 4 liters will be enough, because the old oil still in the engine might be up to 1 liter. So you understand. So first start with 4. Then if you feel that it's still almost at minimum mark, then you cannot top up. Maybe you could put half a liter. Check, see where it is. Sometimes I don't like concluding it until the next day, or because you have to start the engine, run it. Some will go back up on the cylinder head, and eventually some will come down, some will remain there. So when you do all those things, then by the next one you now know exactly how much you still need to top up to come up, like I say. But don't get it to maximum mark. This is not just for the ES-V6 engine. I'm talking about all Peugeot cars, especially whether, I don't know about diesel, but as far as petrol is concerned, apply this. Now, something else I forgot to mention which I also pointed out yesterday, because when I started the car, I had to, after changing the oil, it made a sound which I explained why that sound came up. Now for the ES9J4S and ES9A engine, they have a VVT system, variable timing system, like what you can also known as that is basically it, variable valve timing system. So the sprocket, the intake on these cars have a special type of the intake sprocket has special type of sprockets which works, engine oil runs inside them, being supplied by the electro valve. There's a VVT electro valve that supply oil to there. So ECU controls the supply of the oil there. So when you drain everything, the oil, everything flows down. So if you do it the way I did it, warm it up, everything flows out. So when you pour the new oil and start the car, you are going to hear friction noise. You look as if something is grinded, because all oils have gone down. So that sprocket is going to make noise, just small, tiny, then it goes away, So if you do it, if you hear the noise, don't freak out. There's nothing wrong with your vehicle. Just that, like I said, all oils came down, flowed down, and there's something else. I think maybe this might be the best time to talk about this. Remember, the hotter the engine oil, the lighter it becomes. So the colder the engine oil, the thicker they become. So now when it comes to the maximum mark, if you are the type that use all this thick oil, very thick oil, like the 20W50, trust me, especially for what I've seen in other distance, when this oil become hot, they increase, the level increases. When they become hot, the level of the oil increases. It kind of expands. So leaving it, gauging it at maximum, meaning when they expand, it goes above the maximum. So if I'm not only limiting it to those 20W50, 40, what's it called? Forgetting this old oil people used to buy then, but let's just say 20W50 and the rest. So I'm not limiting it to that oil. So I would say it's possible that all oils do that, whether synthetic, light or so. When they are light, but just a lighter oil is already light, so it can't expand as the thicker mineral oils will do when they become hot. Even if they will still expand, but not like the other. So that's why I say keep it below maximum. Whatever will happen, it will still be safe. There are so many reasons why it's safe to keep your oil level lower than maximum mark. Like I said, if I go into it now, even some experiences I've had that reassured me the reason why Peugeot said do this. It could take longer. This video will take too long. So I think that's all for this particular one. These are the things I talked about yesterday, but they were unfortunately, when I was doing the editing, I realized they were not actually captured. But I know people will gain from it. Okay, so now let's talk about the engine oil, because it's always I know I've talked about it so many times, but it can't hurt if I keep repeating it. So for ES9A, ES9J4, ES9J4S, the standard oil, if you live in Nigeria, the standard recommended engine oil, there are two: 10W40, 5W40. The 10W40 is has a certification B712300, while the 5W40 certification code is B712296. So remember, 2300 2296. So don't say, oh, but doesn't mean other climes or continents or regions they all use this. These are the only two. No, they might have theirs, but for harsh environment, harsh weather, hot climates like Nigeria and the rest, these are the only two recommended for these engines, ES-V6 engines. So whenever I'm talking about the ones I use in my car, I want people to understand clearly. It doesn't mean 10W40 is bad. It's not. It's recommended. If I'm even considering maybe one of my ES cars with ES engines, I probably might consider maybe switching to 10W40 and see what happens. Not because the engine will not handle it, no. I'm speaking because of the oil sales. I want to start from there, see how it will react. If it doesn't affect the sales, good and fine. If it does, yeah, well, I'll have to source for the sales whenever I can, so I have to be mindful of that. That's why I have not switched. The 5W40, the price is increasing, going up more and more, because there's an alternative that is cheaper, which I can also switch to. But I also know that I also have the option of 10W40. All right, so 10W40 is very good, especially for areas like Africa, whatever, Asia. I don't know. Okay, let me not speak for other things, but I know it's basically for adverse condition, harsh condition, these are the two recommended. So I want people to actually understand that. Just because I'm using 5W40 does not mean 10W40 is not good enough. No, it is. I have my reason why I use the 5W40. I know my driving style. 10W40 can also serve the purpose. Don't get me wrong. But I just knowing the difference between the two oils, the 5W40 is expected to protect the engine better for me based on my own driving style. However, there's this Peugeot mechanic, or I could say technician in Europe, that has this argument that the 10W40 is better on this ES engine than the 5W40. Even though the 5W40 is recommended, but 10W40 to him is better. He cited some facts. We could qualify, we call it facts anyway, that the oil pump on this ES engine is still the same design of the early PRV engines. So my point is, it's not like it's the same. They are not the same, but it's basically, it's just like the same design, same. They work according to him better with a little bit thicker oil than lighter ones. The reason they said the 5W40 is mainly for fuel economy. It helps to reduce fuel consumption because less friction, less resistance. It will help the engine to, there won't be more resistance since it's lighter, and it's fully synthetic, while the other one is semi-synthetic. And so that's why Peugeot recommended 5W40 for them. But according to him, that 10W40 he prefers it based on his own experiences working on his customers' vehicles with these engines. That he pointed out that 5W40 tend to cause oil leak. I need to point it out so that people can make their own choices. That 5W40 tends to cause oil leak from the engine more than 10W40. So now you have it. So I just wanted to point it out. Go for the 10W40. Please don't say because I use 5W40. It means that's the only recommended one. Use 5W40 as well. I'm using it. I've never had any issue to stop using it. It works, it's recommended, it works for me. However, like I said, the price keeps increasing, so eventually I may have to evaluate whenever I'm ready to deal with the consequences of switching. If it happens, if I experience that consequence, I have to be ready for that. I won't just switch blindly because anything cheap is better. No. The consequences that come with the switch might not favor me based on the engine model we're talking about. Those OSs, getting the original one that you serve may not be easily available or even cheap. Might end up spending more than 30K to get the original sales in only one of these engines, all of them. So you understand, you may be asking yourself, okay, what did you even save? By not going forward, yeah, you fix it once and for all. But then you still spend more than what you are trying to avoid, the cost of the newer, the 5W40 oil. So look at it, take my time, see which of the cars. I have one in mind already that I can switch to 10W40 and monitor, see what will happen. Now, when it comes to 10W40, there are various quality. Just because 10W40 and it has the Peugeot recommendation certification does not mean they are all the same quality. Personally, I always prefer something newer, it's because it means an improvement than the older ones. Like the liquid moly gen 10W40 that has that 2300 certification. To me, it's still like the best. For me, it's still like the best among the 10W40 I've come across in Nigeria with that certification. So my point is, I will still choose it over the total was 7,000 10W40, which I'm not saying is not good. After I use it in my 505, so it's very good. I can still use it in any of my VCs. No, what's it called? The ES ones. But I'm saying, if money is not the issue, I will go for that liquid money own. I have my reason. So, but if you can't afford that one, because that one is even as expensive as the total was 9,540, if not even more. I don't even know the current price now of that liquid moly gen 10W40. So in that case, if you are going for that one, it means it's not money about money that is chasing you from the 5W40, you know. So you have to be that. But to me, that's like, if money is not a factor, I don't think I will go for any other 10W40. For now, at least I've not seen any other one that could say, oh, okay, it's better than that one. So other than that, then total 10W40 is very good, but for me, I consider it as an old technology. So why this moly gen? From what I've read, I looked at everything, is something new and a big improvement compared to the older 10W40. Because remember, 10W40 has been in production even the time of in the 60s. Is it 60s? Yeah. In the time of 504s. That when they started, Peugeot started using it on their vehicle. That's what I want people to understand. So that's what this technician claimed, that the oil pump on these engines were produced or designed with that same old tech of the older Peugeot engines. So that's why he believed that it works better. 10W40 works better on these V6 engines than the 5W40 that is meant for these newer engines. Okay, not even newer now, because even the newer engines now use 5W30, not even 5W40 anymore. But as is, at that time, there was a time 5W40 was considered like one of the best. In fact, it still remains one of the best oils ever produced. 5W40, one of the best oil ever produced. Trust me, it's not just about Peugeot. It cut across so many other brands of vehicles. Their engines, this 5W40 is like perfect engine for them, especially those ones produced in the early 2000s, between 2000 2004, all those things, or 2010. 5W40 is like a perfect oil for most engines, especially V6, V8 engines at that time. So that's my point. I wanted to point it. I mentioned all those things in that video, but the one I did yesterday, but unfortunately they couldn't come out. So I hope this helps for those who probably might find one or two things that will serve them in this second part of the video. All right.